So here you seem that I
Okay, you guys, hello everyone and welcome. I'm Jenna Blackard.
And I'm the Ocarina.
And this is
Good
the
morning.
Hustle Morning Show.
We have fun here. Hi, how's everyone
My
doing
brain
and
just
feeling?
left the station for a second listening to my name, man. Good morning.
Yeah.
Wow, today we have a cool lineup. We're talking with Macy Bristol, and she's going to talk to us about Chiron, which is I guess I'll have her explain it, but it has to do with astrology for healing trauma.
Childhood trauma too, like those childhood wounds. So
that we've probably hidden from ourselves.
yeah.
So I think it's going to be a dynamic conversation. She's been in all kinds of media around the world. So it's will be a little bit different conversation. It's exciting.
It's super exciting. And then later we'll have a Hamna, and she talks about melting away and she calls it melting away the BS, but it's really melting away the trauma that causes us to have more BS also. True. So I think that's going to be super fun. It's super juicy. I love all of her really cute graphics around it. Like, I mean, she really makes it some of these tough conversations have a lot of like and juiciness to it. Kind of like the way we do here on this show, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like we take on these really tough topics and we have fun anyway,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't cry all the time.
Well, at the beginning of the last week, and when we go into these full immersions, I really decide I'm going to work on something too.
Yes.
So
which we encourage all of you to do as well.
Yeah. So I unearthed this crappy little child trauma lie. You may have been watching, and if you heard Ambajam, she actually facilitated me through a little nugget of it, and basically said, well, you've got choice to change it. At the end of the day, I mean, it was deeper than that.
Sure.
And
well, okay, so tell us what it was. I mean,
really,
this is what we do.
Right.
And we went to know specifics here.
Yeah. So when I was younger, my dad pretty much gave me this little book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And he lived by these rules, and his father lived by these rules. And he would taught me to live by these rules.
I need to give that book to my husband.
And it's a great book.
Yeah.
But for me, and since it was like driven in my system since I was so young, it's almost as if I don't have like freedom to really just pick and choose in life. I feel that there's this energetic construct around how I have to do money.
Okay.
And it's worked for me. I have accumulated wealth, but it also keeps me from like just being like, I want it, I'm going to get it. And it's not, I can't just spot it, I got it. I've got to go through all the bullshit story in my head. And if I don't have a good experience with it, well, then basically it's, the story will keep yapping in my head. And, if I accidentally do something stupid, which I have done, and just lost money because of a stupid typo, I lost $700 over a stupid typo earlier this year. I get twisted about it for months. Like it's just a little bullshit story in my head.
Yeah.
But I'm done with this bullshit story. I mean, I'm donezo.
Yeah.
So this weekend, I was like, okay, well, let's just push this muscle a little bit. And so I pushed it. And then I basically pushed myself into a lot of trauma and drama. But it did end up with a beautiful massage and me processing, which then end up to like the Arcturians coming in and just giving me all this channeling information.
Okay, so do spill the tea, man. I like saying man.
So the biggest part that I get is that we in this reality are addicted to uh the hormones of stress.
Yes.
I mean, we literally are. So when something is, it's like Murphy's Law, right? Like, that like
If
years
you can't
ago, they
have
were
it,
like,
you get it. I mean, you
like
want
if
it.
something goes wrong, it'll keep going wrong. It
Oh.
keeps going wrong. It keeps going wrong. It keeps going wrong, right? So I think I broke Murphy's Law channeling on Sunday.
Do
And
tell.
I think one, so
See, inquiring minds
basically,
want to know, says Dana.
basically they were like, you're addicted to the hormones of stress. You're addicted to the hormones of stress. You need to break that cycle. And to break that cycle, all you need to do is come and meet us, was basically what I got for myself.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, but this is an entire collective construct. And now you just need to invite people into the subtle energetic moments of the world, which I thought was, like almost too simple. I feel like I already know that, but being like kind of educated from a source outside me, I felt like, okay. So what I've been doing is kind of calibrating, am I in my trauma drama like routine here? And what is it that I can do to drop my vigilance system? Because when my vigilance system's dropped, I can be present. I can see a person. I can touch a person. I fall in love and kindness around almost anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But when I get twisted, and sometimes it's one itty bitty tiny thing, then my whole day gets twisted. It's like, then somebody texts me and asks for something really simple, like, hey, just a reminder, can you do blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
I mean, it's just really like this roar inside of me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, feel like I'm constantly in these controlling states so that I don't just blow up
Uh-huh.
after something has, quote, happened. So I'm thinking that the best way to get out of these is really to just keep going. All right, am I in a state of the trauma drama? Am I out of it? I know this is like it sounds super simple as I'm explaining
Isn't it always, isn't it every time that they,
No, it's like as soon as but it changed me.
that's
Like, it
great.
literally
That's what it's supposed to
changed me.
do.
So I feel a little more free today. We'll see. I'm gonna test it by buying things.
Oh, see, you see, you don't need to stress yourself on it. Like, oh, let me go see one.
Do my taxes next weekend finally, so that I can just play with money. And if you haven't heard of Humna's original interview from the viewing
Oh,
room,
yes, yeah.
please do, because I re-listened to that as well. And she really gets like your dharma and how the universe loves us so much that sometimes all our triggers are in our face.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, mine are.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So
Well, who's getting triggered? Love y'all. Sending so much love, Anita. I see a 11 too. Big hearts, girl. Let's just make this a whole new everything today. And this week, right?
Yeah.
Let's just step into a whole new energy. I don't care what happened this morning. I don't care what happened 10 minutes ago. Let's just
Like
step
you're
into the
about to
energy of just
throw a lightning
newness.
bolt.
Yeah. And anything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and uncreate. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Because we are not who we were yesterday or even last week.
I don't feel the same, but it's really been intense for me because I've had to be here for every session. I've had to be present, or generally present, as much as my body will allow. All right. I did see that Macy came on the
I know,
line.
Anita. I felt like it was too. That's cool. We slowed some time down. She said that it feels like it was lingering more than 60 seconds, the moment of 11:11. I think that was really out there. Yeah.
Maybe we've broken the application of time.
Yeah, okay. I'll take it. I'll go with it.
Right?
And maybe it didn't exist. Very cool. Finally, Anita said, very potent energies around. I agree. I
feel like it's
agree.
growing.
Yes, and a newness is. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to collapse anything down. I'm all for the newness. I'll just be a wondering new human right now and just allow, what is this? What is that with new eyes?
My birthday's next week.
It is.
So I feel like there's always good vibes around my birthday.
And what are we doing for your birthday? Because that will be a Tuesday. Remember, we have the talk show go on every Tuesday and Thursday, same time. So it'll be 9 a.m. Pacific. We do that every Tuesday and Thursday. What are we doing on your birthday?
Yeah, well, we're having Shonda Watson come into the studio, and she is going to take us through a sound bath.
Isn't that exciting?
So I don't have to do any work, but we are going to talk with her at the beginning. She has a lot of knowledge about sound baths, sound therapy, sound healing, and frequency just in general. So I think you're really going to enjoy that, but it will be just like come and chill and rest your brain and drop that vigilance system for sure. Yeah. And then that Thursday we've got Kenji Kimura, who is one of my favorite too. So it's an epic birthday week for myself.
Yes, it is. I would say.
If you don't know the story, Kenji and I go way back to 2011, and he literally just changed my world. We had one conversation where he was like out, really out of the matrix. And we had like a 2-hour conversation after that show. And he basically told me like everything that I think isn't real.
Damn, talk about blow your world up.
No, right?
That's one way.
Making notes. And then I'm like, really like, okay, I got to integrate this.
There's a lot.
That was years ago.
Yeah, that's got to be a lot for that time too, right? Nobody's really talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like everything is not real. You're like, what?
Remember the dude that did the work and it was like an M4A format, and he said that it's dimensional or something like that. Like they're the fifth dimensional frequency is embedded in the audio.
Yes, I remember that.
That tripped me up at the time. I was like, okay. Because we asked him, we're like, well, most people get an MP3 and this is an M4A format. Can we put him into MP3?
He's like, no.
And he was like, no way, because it has the dimensional frequency and I get it now. And it's like real simple and awesome. But I didn't get it back then. I was like, it's audio. I was thinking the fifth dimension is in the field. Would it matter? But apparently it did, and at least in his world. I'm not really certain that we couldn't have done it and he wouldn't have been able to sense the fifth dimension.
Sure.
But it is what it is. But I was really resistant back then. And today I'm just kind of like, yeah. The weirder I get, the mystic. I've had so many mystical experiences. I like get it now.
Yay.
It's like very cool.
Yeah. All for that. Well, thank you for letting us chat it up and talk about this weekend and how we've channeled and what we've downloaded, and would love to hear on the chat what you've got going on too. We're also always willing to listen, and just write us a note too, or comment on Instagram. We're still running that challenge. We've got a whole new week of challenge, and we have a whole new week of winners. Remember, anyone that what I'm trying to tell you is that comments on Instagram will be entered to win a Akashic Records reading from me. So there's 2 of them to get to weigh this week, and we've got other great prizes and everything like that. And without further ado, we also have Macy on the line. So hi.
Hello.
Hi. Awesome that we get here and everything is already live and we've got going, and we've been chatting on the line for a little while. So we get to just join you straight away while we're chatting it away live.
Perfect.
And
I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah.
Well, Macy, welcome. I'm really excited to talk to you about astrology because I know very, very little about it. And I really thought it would be fun to have a guest talk about astrology, especially in the way that you talk about it, with really healing childhood trauma, because geez, we know we all have it. I was reading a little bit on the page that we made that it's works with Chiron, but I know nothing about it. So can we kind of start there? Can you mention what is Chiron, and also how you really decided that you wanted to bring this work out to the world?
Yeah. So how did you kind of fall into this? So we learn a little bit about you at the same time.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, I'll start with me. Hello, everybody. My name is Maisie. I started out in tarot, and then I developed into astrology. Obviously, I was interested in astrology, but that I've been doing this whole business for I think 10 years, maybe it's 13 years, and then but like I've been full time for 5 years or something. So that's definitely become a huge part of my life. And as you go and you learn new things and you become more professional in your area and your industry, I think at some point you go, okay, like what makes me different as an astrologer amongst all the other astrologers out there. And so what I found in both astrology and tarot, I was helping a lot of people through their mental health goals. And that's kind of how I ended up doing or working with healing in general, because this just seemed to be, I feel like you get called into what you're supposed to be doing, and all the people that I was calling in or clients that I called in needed help in these areas of like self blockage and like getting over something that's holding them back, and they didn't really know what that was. And obviously a lot of it has to do with your previous childhood experiences. So then I that's how I got into astrology and how I figured out my niche. And then Chiron, I guess, what is it? It's an asteroid. And it talks about your childhood wounding, but essentially what it is like this conditioned wounding that you've had since childhood based on your childhood experiences. And it's something that you are challenged with as like throughout adulthood to overcome. So it always stays with us. But the more we understand it and the more we work with it, the more we can understand how it might become more of a benefit to us, or show some of our healing gifts. So in that way, it's supposed to show both the wound and the gift. And my method of healing is just to help people. I'm sorry, this is long-winded. I'm almost done. Help people understand like where they're coming from, how it affected them, and then how to reframe the mindset to really live a healthy and like fulfilled and empowered life. So that's what I do.
No, that was well said. I love it. So if we have something going on in our world that we're a little aware of, like how do you work with people on that? Like how does Chiron find it for us, I guess, is what I'm asking. Like,
what's the methodology
can
here?
you share how it works? Like if we're brand new and we say, I have childhood trauma and I need to heal something, can you kind of share what's going on? Just by looking at our chart or something, right? Or how does that work?
Yeah, a lot of people don't expect everything that you get in like a reading. So I have, this healing program that is based on Chiron, and as soon as people come into the program, they get like a one-on-one reading with me. So we, at the beginning and at the very start, we like dive right in so that people know like where to look within their healing process. Just like themes, because it can be really overwhelming at times. So how we find this in the birth chart. So Chiron, we've got Chiron in the sign in the house in your chart, and then Chiron in the sign in the house related to other planets. Okay. So the Chiron sign can represent kind of what the shame narrative is that kind of starts within our head, like I'm so blank, or I'm never blank enough. So that's where the shame narrative begins. And then the house system discusses like how we express it as adults, or like what we kind of lean into when it's triggered. And then the aspects it makes in the chart can indicate what factors played into creating the shame narrative. So was it like bullying, was it like verbal abuse? Was it not being able to make friends? Was it being social outcast or social anxiety? Or like, were you a foreigner? Did you come into this country and like didn't know how to speak the language? You can see all of that in the chart. And then it can go obviously into like parents and family. Who were you closest with? Like, was your dad absent? Like, you can answer all these questions just with your chart. So that's why I start there.
Like what? But what if you've done your healing work and you're over these already? Does it change in your chart? Like
we say over these.
Yeah. Or you never over them. Like they'll always be. What is that? How does that work?
I think they're always, and that we should always be conscious of them. And I think at certain times in our life, we'll be reintroduced to these themes, and suddenly they become a lot more prevalent or present. And we realize, oh, there's more to do, or we have to go back to this and like, okay, redefine this for ourselves, like in this new adult space.
Interesting.
I think that's like
we have to remember
nucleated spheres, or how to
that's what we used to follow.
Yeah. It's like when you try to, so they're basically, it's like some people say, oh, it's like peeling back an onion, but really it's more like you pop a bubble. How do you say the word?
Like it's a bubble on a bubble on a bubble on a bubble.
Spheres. I can't remember.
And then you can pop a few of the bubbles.
Right.
And sometimes it'll pop the entire bubble, but oftentimes it'll just pop a few.
One bubble, another bubble will pop up, another bubble will pop up. So it's like nucleated spheres. And so
it's actually a different problem that you're dealing with.
Right. So, but it's still all around encompassed in that same. Yes.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And it comes from this core, and it can be expressed in different ways throughout your life and different moments of your life. But it still comes back to like, what is that shame narrative that keeps popping up in your head? Like, I'm not something enough. And then the way that that's portrayed out there in the world is like, you may overcompensate in some area, for example. But yeah, we also have to remember that the Chiron orbit takes around 50 years to circle. So we have our Chiron return around 50. And when that happens, that's when all of these themes are reintroduced again. So it becomes, like a different chapter in the same story almost. And then we have to like come back to it. I also, one more thing, because you mentioned, what if you've already done this, all this healing? I think you can always do more. Not that you have to, obviously take whatever you can take. Like, we don't want to like bite off more than we can chew. But I've had many people come through this program who are like, I'm doing this as like a adjunct to therapy or something, or like I'm not getting what I need from that method that I'm using. Maybe it's therapy. And now I'm looking for something else. So there's always different avenues that you can go about it. And I've had a lot of people come through. In fact, I had this one woman, it just reminded me of this story. She had done a lot of healing, and she had different things happen to her. Like, there's a lot of psychological abuse going on in the household. And then I think she even experienced some physical abuse too. So anyway, she was working through that, and she'd obviously seen a bunch of therapists already. And then she came through my program, and she was like, I realized during this program that I had still held some resentment toward my mother for not protecting me as a child when I was in this like kind of psychological abusive whatever situation with her father. So she thought it was all her father, and then was not thinking about how that would affect her going into motherhood, because that's when all of these themes started popping up again when she started having children. And then she and her ex-husband split up. And then after the program, she was like, I realized it wasn't that at all. And I had all this stuff that I hadn't healed yet. And now me and my ex-husband are working it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Oh,
it's funny
so you don't even know. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing too, is how insidious it is. It just like hides from you. If you don't actively sometimes try and be more conscious of it. Lots of things.
Come up, as we grow and as we become more complex. I think like sometimes we're just not ready to focus in on something yet, so we don't even realize it's a problem.
Agreed.
And it comes into our life at the moment that it should, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you have a different approach. You believe that there is a lot of healing to be held and had through kind of the group exercise as well. I know that community plays a big role in things like sobriety or in other areas through general therapy, but some primarily maybe even spirituality, right? When you look at congregation, how does this play a role in your work?
Yeah, so when I first started this, I was doing one-on-one work before, but I was thinking like, okay, how can I not only reach more people at once, but also make it more impactful if we can, you know, like take it to the next level.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research on shame. A lot of this program involves neuroscience and psychology in like conjunction with astrology. So if anybody is interested in that, like,
you're in the right place.
I feel like that's how I think, you know.
That's how we approach everything. Yes.
Yeah. I love being spiritual and I love like my intuition in that, but I also love the tangible. So I'm like weird, like complex. So that's why I bring it in for those thinkers like me who are like,
I need both sides satisfied.
Yeah. But anyway, so I and after, you know, doing a lot of research on shame, I mean, shame is super isolating. And I like to say it's like a narcissist because that's when it gets the most power, when it isolates you into a corner and you don't want to come out. You're like forbidden to come out. And what the group does is it helps you feel supported in the shame space. So we can all feel shame together and it's totally okay because we're actually born with it and like conditioned into it. And that's totally normal. And so as a group, we can identify with our own personal shame points and say and acknowledge that it's our own and still feel safe to share and to inspect it, you know, without like weird or prejudice stuff around it. And then on top of that, it also adds a level of accountability for people who like need some structure and like can't just do it on their own. And then at the end, when we've met a while, you know, we become friendly. I don't know. It's odd. I like, cause we don't meet, but we meet through the computer and I still like look forward to seeing each and every one of them every single Monday. And we're all there. And, it just becomes like this little support unit when I love that.
Yeah. And it's also so amazing to be in a space where you're just like really not judged. And there's really not many places, especially in my background in working in corporate, that I was being in meetings or in Zoom or in community. I mean, these are your colleagues and stuff, but then you're constantly being judged in even in some of my spiritual practice, you know, judged in certain places. And it feels like this is a place where people can really let down that visual system and not be in a place of judgment. And I think that's so valuable.
Yeah. And I think what makes the judging difficult is when we get into these patterns that we don't like, where we know that we are this way and yet we can't stop it. So like, you know, those sentences, like I always attract like the narcissist or something. Well, I mean, there's a reason for that, you know? And we all have patterns that we don't like, whether it's like anxiety or perfectionism or like some depression bouts, like these happen all the time. And a lot of the time, I would say most of the time, it can circle back to like shame work, inner child healing, like that kind of thing. And because everyone has it, that's what makes this group so I guess amenable to everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's just like so obvious that, you know, we aren't who we are without our past. And we all know that. So
and it's cool that they're vulnerable enough to actually admit it and look at it.
Yeah.
Whereas most people like to go, nope, shame, close the door.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done that.
It's a very brave journey. It's hard.
In therapy, I've done that.
And but it's the best thing. Once you do it, it's like that muscle, you know, and once you work it, like it becomes more easy to get in tune with it and in touch with it. But yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. You know, like you have to really be ready to get something out of it because you're only going to
yeah.
get what you
Ooh.
give. So so that's another thing, and that's what kind of why that meeting aspect really helps, because if anything at all, like even if you're not sharing one bit to the group, you are present. You're like
Yes.
devoting that 1 hour every Monday to yourself, you know, and
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that
That's great.
even that small step makes a difference.
Well, let's talk. I mean, can we take some callers? Can you do some mini sessions? We experience your work? Like what, how would you like to go with this? Because I think it would be really cool if we could,
Have some people ask
have some people ask some questions, and if
Yeah,
that
I mean,
works for you.
ask away. I don't I'm happy to do whatever. I mean, do you want to just see what questions come up and then we roll from there?
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
go.
Yeah, they like to be
and then
interactive.
continue.
So
I love being
absolutely.
interactive. I
Let's
want to
do
talk
it.
to all of you.
Yeah. But can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with something. My father died in 2017, and I got his inheritance. And I've also had a lifetime of him teaching me exactly how and what to do with money. And he, basically when I got the inheritance, he said, okay, you just keep it in there and just get mailbox money for dividend checks like that. Just use that money, but don't touch anything almost. But I also have a whole set of rules on how to do money in this reality too. And I have a big deal around trust and money. Like I don't, if somebody says they're going to do something, for example, I made a purchase and they said, don't worry about it, we'll refund it verbally. And I don't ever trust that. And I don't necessarily like that I don't trust it, because it also goes into a whole lot of story. It's control. And it's icky for me. So I'm wondering what, from your work with Chiron or just even your intuitive work, what you might suggest so that I can actually kill this construct of these two synapses in my brain yapping at each other around almost every monetary transaction in my life.
Right.
Almost everyone,
Okay.
except for the grocery store. It seems like I can freely go to the grocery store and buy clothes at will. I can even buy really, really high-end clothes, and I don't ever doubt it.
I would, if you were in my brain, you would freak the hell out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm so opposite. Not so opposite, but that is, yeah.
Yeah. If it comes to food or clothes, I'm just like, here's my card, and then they swipe it and it's like, perfect.
And you're like, yay,
Party.
But if it's, it's even comes even with facials and massage and, those bodily things like that I really, really love and need. I'm like, ugh, $200, and I'll just be weird about it. And I'm just like, no, I just want to be like, thank you so much for your service. Swipe my card.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I actually do desire to be that way, but I'm fighting myself. I mean, talk about dueling yourself in an area of your life. And I would like to, you see how it's like, it just doesn't follow my flow.
Yeah. So listening to your story, obviously I don't know anything about your chart. But I have some guesses around, like, if you have money issues.
Her birthday's next week.
My birthday's on October 1.
Well, that's exciting. Libra, yeah.
That's
and we're
right.
on that. We just had that Pisces full moon, which full moon eclipse, which is delusion and can relate to some money stuff. But if I was to guess, you might have some things in Taurus. Chiron in Taurus is very money conscious. And then on top of that, or like in another sphere, even if you don't have Chiron in Taurus, like you might have Chiron in the 8th house or Chiron in the 2nd house. The 2nd and 8th house are like huge money pits, basically. The second house is all about self-worth and like the self-value and the earned income. And then the 8th house is like the other people's money. So legal stuff, contracts. And I don't sometimes money issues can spur on if the family itself was super money conscious. Like that's just how you lived. Like you were always very, your parents or
that.
dad who was always like on top of the money. And so you had like a blueprint to follow.
Yep.
And from what it sounds like, you need more self-trust, not like a release of blockage, but you need to learn to trust yourself with the money. You know, like I am spending it on something and I trust that it's going to be okay, because like your guiding compass, you know, might have been your father and now he's not here and you have all this money and you're like, this is my worst nightmare. Like, now, like what do I do now? And, like, and even though it's really safe, because we're always craving safety and security.
Yes.
The reason it doesn't feel safe because it goes contrast to what you know, logically you're safe because you have all this money, but like emotionally you're not feeling safe because you don't have that guiding compass, you know. And it's now time to learn, okay, I can handle this on my own. I can do this. I trust myself.
I do trust myself. I mean, I really do, but I don't trust other people.
Well, then
is
I
a
guess
lot
it's
of
time
it.
to trust that, not trust other people.
Maybe it's
but
both.
It's I think what it comes down to when we talk about having lack of trust in other people, it's also a self-trust thing, because we don't know if like we're always wondering whether this person will hurt me or that person will hurt me, or whether they are going to be true to their word. A lot of money stuff can come with like broken promises and stuff in the family system. But what it comes down to is whether you have trust in yourself to handle anything that happens. You know, like even if they don't follow what they said they would do, I will still be okay. And knowing that like I am the worth or the value that I need. So even if I did lose money, or even if I did lose this trust, I'm still here and I will still be making it in the world. So yeah, I think it does still surround self-trust a little bit.
I like it. Yeah, it wasn't until this weekend that I really thought of it being a trust issue. My husband thinks it has to do with technology, because a lot of the transaction I make that I'm wrong around, I make myself wrong around. So there is a trust, right? Has to do with technology, purchases online.
Right. So, yeah. And that's something, I mean,
that's
honestly,
cool. No, I love it.
You can do everything that you can to control things, but at the end of the day, we can't control everything. So we have to end up, the only thing we can control is our trust in ourselves and our reactions to the things that happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of, I don't want to be taken advantage of, you know.
Yeah.
That was a big release for me.
Shameful and embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, so it's just so icky, but I get it. And I can work on that. Thank you. Let's take some callers.
I hope that helped.
Yeah, no, that was great.
And in fact,
very different.
Yeah, what you said, actually, I could resonate and I could receive, and I hope other people can receive from Janet's outcome as well.
Absolutely. All right, Christina, you're up.
Hi, ladies. How are you all?
Hi.
Thank you for taking my call. Yeah, I would like to know. It's actually my birthday. I'm also a Libra.
I love Libra.
Happy birthday.
So I just wonder, is there anything you can see coming up for that year or something? I don't know if it's, your intuition or something. Anything.
Well, if I was doing something for you, I would have to see your chart specifically. But I can say that October 2nd, we have a new moon eclipse happening in Libra. I don't know if you're early. Well, I guess you're early Libra. Yeah. So it would not be conjunct this moon, but it would be pretty close because it's at 10 degrees and you're probably like a 2 degree or something Libra. So it's happening pretty close to your sun sign. And this is also like a closing chapter in the eclipse. There's so much to talk about regarding eclipses, but this last eclipse of the year on October 2nd is a closing chapter of a cycle of eclipses that happened prior. And it's kind of like telling us to move forward into individuality instead of like codependency or like leaning on our relationships and our partnerships. So this is actually a great time for you personally to kind of evaluate your partnerships and say, I've done the best that I can do for like these relationships, these friendships, or whatever it is. And kind of like embrace like a new you. This is me now. These are the friends that I'm going to continue with. I can let go of like the stragglers, you know what I mean? Like those friends that we just keep for no reason. And then all of a sudden we're like, why are you here? You keep flaking on me. So yeah, just taking control and like, really honoring yourself in those relationships.
Oh, great.
I love that.
That sounds lovely. Is there money coming at the same time?
I could not tell you that since I can't tell anything specific about your chart. But like for example, we have a comment in the section, and it's about like a specific thing in the chart. So if anybody out there knows anything specific about your chart, like what does like Sun conjunct Jupiter and Pisces mean in your natal chart, I can answer those questions.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you very much. That's
Thank
lovely.
you. So, and what is that about? Like, I know, like, we know we're Libra, but then there is like a rising sun or moon, and what do all of those just have, they're just different characteristics of us, or
It's a big
so
question,
it's actually,
isn't it? Yeah, because
no, okay, it's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger than this. Okay. Okay, so we have 30 days of like or so, of each sign. And the thing that makes you a different Libra than the next Libra is where you were born and what time you were born, exactly to the T. And that computes a chart that is different from every other person. It's like a blueprint, and that dictates like kind of your own personal story. So this is an example of what a birth chart looks like. I didn't do this. I don't know who did this, but thank you. This is what it looks like. And
somebody took over.
So you have like all the planets are moving, right? They're all in constant motion. And so when you're born, it depends on if you're born over here, it's going to be, they're going to be in different relation to you than if you were born over here on this side of the world. And so when you're born, it takes like the birth chart takes like an exact snapshot of all of the planets. And they're all moving at different speeds, and then there's retrogrades, so then they kind of like go backwards, and so they're never in the same place. And for example, the moon moves like every 2.5 days into a new sign. So you have like a sun sign, but you also have a moon sign, a Mercury sign, a Venus sign, a Mars sign, like, and all the planets, and they all mean something. And then of course in the house and in aspect to their planets, and that kind of thing. So you can go many layers deep into a birth chart. Your rising sign is supposed to represent like basically how a stranger would see you, like how you come across when you first meet someone. And that is at the very beginning of the first house. It separates the 12th house from the first house, and it's like the start of your chart basically. But that's what the rising sign is. It's a point. It's not a planet.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I tried. I mean the brief version, but I did try a couple of times, like just to like learn. And when I'm reading it, it all makes sense. And when I'm kind of like placing stuff out for myself, it all makes sense. But could I tell you anything that I know? I have none remembered. So I really applaud you. However, in one of my channeled sessions, one of the ascended masters, if you will, also expressed disappointment for humanity not knowing enough about astrology and astronomy. Basically was saying that we're getting away from a lost very much science for how we can operate in this reality and how we can operate in a much more fuller life, and felt like we should go back to learning that. And I thought, wow. So that's when I picked up a set of my own set of tarot cards, and I picked up, and that's when I started to try and learn to read more of my own astrology and my own map. And I thought that was really interesting, just because we have so much technology these days. But it was almost like, don't always go and read whatever you find, go and find these things for yourself. And I thought that was very interesting. And like the tarot, same thing. You have your own way of communication.
Yeah, you over time you develop what it means to you,
Yes.
and that's how you like interpret
Yes.
your chart and other people's charts, or
Yes.
your cards and cards
Yes.
that you draw for other people. So like same for tarot, same for astrology, like moon in Aquarius, I would explain maybe a little differently than the next astrologer, but it would be the same concept, but like
Yeah.
I don't know, just like more unique or identified with each person. And I think that whoever you're supposed to get the reading from will explain it to you in the way that is best for you. Because
Yes.
like there's so many ways to say things that it's important, I think, to find the right astrologer or the right tarot reader for you, because that's how you're going to receive the information the best.
That
So
makes
if you
total
like,
sense.
for example, if you're like resonating with me, like this is a good thing to go out there in the world and talk and like be open, because if you resonate with me, then that would make our reading that much better. You know what I mean?
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I believe also whenever I do readings for others, there are images and expressions that come through that I know that I have a way for conveying that information to that particular person. Now, if that same information came or didn't come through in some of the imagery, in some of the ways that that would be best for them, I don't think I can be so clear with the communication, in which case I believe that somebody else could be a better help. But there are many times where I'm like, oh, I know this is spot on for this person. And it's because of the imagery and the intuitive or the intuition that is also brought to the, through the channel or through you as the interpreter of the cards, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I
It
think that's
is.
why
It's pretty crazy.
the Synod Master shared that. And I felt like, wow, I didn't even know. I just thought, oh, I could go look up my astrology anytime. But it was more about, no, familiarize yourself with the actual practice, and you will become much more of a master of your own, fate, really. Your own future, your fate, your own feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
Should I answer some of these?
Yeah. I
questions.
think Katie is on the chat and has a couple questions. So yeah, let's answer some of those, because I think Missy asks, can you tell me about Chiron in Taurus in my 10th house?
Yeah. Okay. So just to be clear, these are basically just archetypal answers, because if I saw your chart, just to anybody, if anybody did this, I just want to preface with this, like, because there's so much more you can get with the chart, with the planets and I don't know, the energies and your intuition on top of that. So this is an archetypal response for people with Chiron and Taurus in 10th house. So not everyone's the same, but Chiron and Taurus is like, Taurus is the workhorse, kind of like Virgo, but Virgo is more about perfectionism and Taurus is more about productivity. So people with Chiron and Taurus tend to be super product driven. Like, I need to have this much stuff to show that I'm successful, or I need to have this much money, and then I'll be feeling safe and secure. Taurus has like this issue with feeling like the world is going to, like Chiron and Taurus has this issue of feeling like they're going to lose something at any moment. So like they hoard things, they like keep things. And Chiron and Taurus in the 10th house, which is the house of career, can mean like this goes into your career space. So like you hoard all the clients, you like don't share, you don't do teamwork, that kind of thing. And then you like are always raising your hand, like always showing everyone that you're there, just for show, almost, like not like you don't care, because you totally care. You care too much probably, but it's more like the more I participate, the more I do, the better I am. And then obviously you can see how that would, spiral into like a bad work habit and things like that. So that's just an archetype response.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty specific.
So 10th house is always career for everybody.
The 10th house represents career and publicity. So like the public image. So this person could also be super status driven. That's why I say for show, because it's like how you portray yourself to the world, how other people see you, not whether you're liked, but whether you're like up on the pedestal, like,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, let's
Messi
answer
said,
Katie's.
thank you. I can resonate with that.
That's how accurate this is. I mean, even if it's archetypal, you still, there's still some resonance with it. That's pretty awesome. Katie asked, she said, I'm an Aquarius with a moon and sun also in Aquarius. What does that mean?
So, if you're an Aquarius, your sun is in Aquarius. So you're just an
Okay.
Aquarius sun and moon. If for example, if your sun and moon are a couple degrees apart, you are either born on a new moon or close to it, because you know that makes sense, right? And if you're not, you still have the same kind of energy resonating through like the ego and identity part of your chart, that's the sun, and then the inner emotional world is the moon sign. So when you have the same sign in both like your ego and identity and your emotional inner world, it's like what you present to others is like what you need from others as well. So it's as an Aquarius, you're probably another archetype reading, but you're probably, you know, very independent and like unique and try to be different and try to be vocal and try to be out there. And then on a moon perspective, like what you need from a partner is also someone who's independent, unique, and like respects your freedom, you know? So it kind of, that's what it means when you have a sun and moon in the same sign.
Wow.
Interesting.
I know.
And then
was really cool.
That resonates.
It all resonates. I mean, my gosh, I think of it. I'm like, maybe I am going to like this.
Be more. So we do have Lisa and Dana. They're both in the inner
And
circle.
Paula.
So they get priority question.
So, well, let's go with Dana first. Dana, you're up.
Hello. Hi, Maisie.
Hi.
So I have a 0 degree Black Lilith marker, and so I've been very curious about that.
So Black Lilith, for anybody who wants to know what that is, it's another point in your chart, and it's supposed to represent like your shadow side or your darker side, not in a bad way, but more in like a like seductress kind of way, like kind of how you fly under the radar and like attract what you need for yourself, basically. And the 0 degree placement, anything, just to throw this out there, anything in 0 degrees means it is like the most potent of that sign. So it's called a critical degree because it gives you the most. So if you think about a tea bag, and you place it in your water, it's like the most potent that first time. And then when you get to 15 degrees, it would be like using the tea bag a second time. And when you get to 29 degrees, it would be like using it a third time. So 0 degree Black Lilith just means that that might be a prominent part of your personality.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. Thank you. All right. And Lisa, you're up.
Hello.
Hi.
So I had an astrology reading in 2022, and I really didn't understand anything. And I didn't even know what questions to ask. So the question I'm going to ask now, well, it's kind of two-part. You did say if someone were to do a reading with you, can we have another one? But somebody told me at one time that you really only should ever get one whole chart reading with your time of birth and all of that. And I have that question, but I also have a question about what's a grand trine, because I apparently have 3 of them. One is an Earth grand trine, and I don't know what the other 2 are, and I was trying to find it in my downloads, and I can't find it. So I wanted to know what that is, and what does it mean when you've mastered Saturn? So
that's a lot of questions.
I'm sorry.
So
pick one.
No, I'm gonna go in order. Okay, so you asked. So I was like wondering if the person who told you that was the person who gave you the reading, but yeah, no, you can do it as many times as you want. I mean, like I said earlier, you know, someone will tell it to you in a different way. Like another astrologer will tell it to you in a different way. And if that one didn't work out, then you move on to the next one. It's like a therapist. Like you see one therapist, and if it's just not working, you're not getting anything out of it, it may just not be your therapist. And you move on, you find another therapist. So it's like the same, I would say it's the same thing. Not like you can't go to therapy ever again. Didn't work. So yeah, totally, you can do it again. And then a grand trine. A grand trine happens in the same element. So we've got, the water signs, the fire signs, earth signs, the air signs, and there's 3 of them in each. And so a trine is like a triangle. So you're hitting 3 points. So you're hitting all 3 of those, and they're in a 90-degree supporting aspect. So you can have one trine in your chart. You can have like Saturn trine Jupiter in your chart. But if you have a grand trine, it means like they're all aspecting each other in those 3 elemental signs. So if you have 3 grand trines, that's pretty wild. I don't know if I've ever seen. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just like to see your chart, because that's crazy.
You'll see it.
That just means I would say then you're probably fairly, if you do have that, I would say you're probably fairly balanced in a number of ways, but like have a lot of different sides to you, like maybe kind of almost chameleon like. So you can be like this spiritual in this spiritual space and go hard in that, and then go to work the next day as a banker or something like that, and then be hard in that. So I don't know, you may have like multiple sides to you, but I'd have, you'd have to see. But very interesting.
All right. Well, I thank you very much.
By the way, I don't know if I should bring this up, but I'm going to. Chat GPT, if under the explore section, you can actually get like the astrology birth chart, and you can ask them, like once it does it, you can ask it for advice and things like that. So if you guys feel like you want to take your own path or something that's interesting that was recently found.
I didn't have any luck with it because I didn't know what I was looking or asking, but it was kind of cool just to know that there was a
I don't know, it's interesting doing all these shows. I've talked to a lot of numerologists, but I've never talked with a great astrologist. I've talked with people who tapped into it just a little bit. So I feel like I'm not even being a very good host because I don't even know really what to ask. I'm just like,
we've got some good questions coming through,
Yeah, we've had some great questions.
Yeah,
I think that you probably has that experience pretty often, because there are not, I mean, to be as versed as you, I'm sure you've had to do, quite a bit of study to be able to recite back as fast as you do.
Gosh.
And so we respect that a lot. So thank you. Paula has a question. I wondered if we wanted to go over and then take the question.
Yeah, but Paula's on the line with her hand raised, but she said online, and I'll have her unmute in a second. She says, I have Chiron at 29 degrees in Aries in my 9th house, conjunct my MC at 1 degree Taurus. Maybe we just leave that up there for you to read.
Yes.
We'll bring Paula on. Go ahead, Paula, ask your question.
Yes, so I have my Chiron is at 29 degrees of Aries in my 9th house. It's conjunct my midheaven at 1 degree of Taurus in my 10th house. It also squares my Saturn in Cancer 12th house with my Mars in Leo 1st house conjunction. And I'm coming up on my Chiron return here in the next year and a half. So just your insights on that Chiron teaching for me, because it seems like a lot right there.
Okay, so I'm gonna do I'm a very visual person, so like it's really hard for me to like visualize all of these connections so fast in my head. But I'll just go through them, kind of like through the note. But Chiron at 29 degrees Aries in the 9th house, close to your midheaven. It has a lot to do with like how you're seen by other people and publicity. 29 degrees is one of those critical degrees, and it can mean that you're just like on the brink. You just always feel like you're on the edge of like being your best self, or just being fulfilling your purpose. It's a big Aries thing. So 29 degrees, it just feels like a natural blockage. So people with that kind of degree aspect can feel that way. Aries in the ninth, so spiritually or in a religious way, basically in your beliefs and your expansion, your soul's expansion. You feel like you're trying hard to be your own person and have your own path and your own purpose, but it's been difficult. And with Taurus in the 10th house, that's another product driven thing. So it's like I have nothing to show for myself. That can be a thing that goes through your head. I haven't done anything. Like, where's my success? Like, where is it? And then with Chiron squaring Saturn, Cancer, and Mars. Oh, okay, I see. Because okay. So Chiron squares Saturn and Mars. And you didn't say the house. Okay. Chiron squaring Saturn and Mars. So
Cancer is my 12th house, and Leo is my first or 12th, depending on if you do whole sign.
So it's near your ascendant then, your rising sign. Yeah. What is your rising?
Leo.
Like,
I'm 11 degrees. 11.
Okay. Okay, so both of them are in your 12th house. If you're in 11 degrees Leo and it's Mars at 2 degrees, that's before 11 degrees.
Yeah, if you do Placidus, right? If your whole house.
Yeah. I don't do whole sign. I mean, do whatever you want. I don't do whole sign. I think Placidus just is more, like, oh my God, detailed. Maybe it's like more on the nose.
Yes.
So, and that's when you get into like deep astrology, all the different types of house systems and stuff. So you are obviously a little more seasoned than the like a beginner.
Yeah.
But anyway, Chiron square Saturn and Mars. Okay, so Chiron square Mars can be like having anger issues, not outward anger issues, but like issues with repressing anger, keeping it down, not sharing your feelings, especially if it's in the 12th house. And then a square Saturn can relate to like Saturn can be the father planet or the father figure planet, and the square can mean like either the father was super like had a lot of anger, and had a lot to say, and like was really I don't want to say like a lot of testosterone going on, like super uber masculine, and like you had to dumb your stuff down and like do not talk. Or father was that and absent completely because the 12th house. So 12th house also rules like jails and hospitals. So could have been like secluded away from your life on purpose. Like that's just what it was. So those are just some thoughts. I'd have to see the whole chart though. And again, this is like hard for me to read, but yeah,
this is great.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. It is fascinating.
I'm like, what? Wow.
It's very spot on because my dad was very much not present in my life. He has mental health issues and also anger issues.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And I also very much feel like I have this huge purpose, but I don't know what it is, and I really want to fulfill it, but I don't know what it is.
So your Chiron return in the next year and a half. This is actually the perfect time to visit the Chiron space, like whether it's with me or just like on your own, because now all these themes are going to be resurfacing again, and you have the opportunity to respond to them differently. You know what I mean? Knowing what you know, and you can respond to them differently and heal from those responses. Like, okay, I've now approached it this way, and I now have more confidence in myself. I now know myself more. I'm working on that, and this is like, it shouldn't be seen as a challenge. That's all I'm saying. It should be seen as like a moment of growth, an opportunity to take the next step forward.
I wanted to say something also about the 50-year return. I was kind of off path, lost myself. And then the year that I turned 50, I'm like, nope, we're doing it again. I'm ready. and I relaunched my entire career and was totally clear and all in, like 100% all in. And up until then, I was dabbling and messing with things. And then that is like, it was that November that I was like, my birthday's in October. November was, I kicked everything off. And so a year later, now we have this, which is just wild. I just realized that as you were talking about the 50-year return. Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it something that happens if you've done healing, like obviously everyone here, I'm sure has done some healing or some work on themselves, because like that's why we're here. So everyone who turns 50, or if you've turned 50, at that moment in time, you're kind of gifted with this new approach and new life. And so people at that Chiron return end up changing something big. Like it might take a total 180, and like do something else. For example, healers. I know a lot of healers like who maybe they did this type of healing up until 50, and then at that moment they're like, okay, moving on to the next thing, or like a different thing, but still like conjunct. I know I used that astrology term. Conjunct like what they were doing before. So it's kind of like an add-on. But if you
does that mean we have to wait till she's 50 before
no, I've always
before the next thing.
I've always jumped before my time. Always. Like I'm always before my time. Like my peers are always doing not what I'm doing. And I'm always curious about, like, it seems like I'm just like always that way. I have no idea why, but just have always been that way. I hang out with my peers and I like have that time, but I have always been a little bit before my time in that way.
Well,
or I'll make a jump. I'm really risky that way.
I have two things to say. This has been really enlightening for me. And I really would like to have you back and have some people on the line that you have their charts for.
Oh, you've worked with,
How fun would that be?
Oh my gosh, too fun. I love it so much.
It's so cool. Yeah. It's so cool. And I want to learn more.
Yeah.
And you have a special offer for everyone. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. And Macy, we just kind of go through this and talk about, here, we made you a little page here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And it's really quite cool. I mean, it's a huge, huge program, you guys, for one. And it just seems like if you have interest and really want to change your life, this is really cool if this resonates.
And there's a really special bonus for the first 10 people that take action, like quick action right away, because this value is just crazy, which she gave it to us for $247, but it's worth way more than that, with the first 10 people being able to get a one-on-one, and that's at the bottom as a bonus. But it really is its own set value. Obviously, normally most people would do one-on-ones for no less than 200 or 199, so that in and of itself is worth that. But the beginning here, just so that you know, starts with this weekly healing workshops, and I'll let you go through it.
Do you want to talk about this?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I can talk about it. So this is essentially what I've been talking about, this Chiron healing program. This particular portion of the healing program is just based on the weekly workshops. So that's what I was talking about before, where you have like the accountability and the support group, and you're there every Monday. We meet every Monday at 5 p.m. PST. Recordings are available in case you can't make that time. But it's a mixture of like workshops that I run, that I've vetted now, I've done this many times, that are really awesome and successful and bring like a light bulb. And then we also include 4 guest speakers. And so I can share a little bit like about who the guest speakers are for this round. And then we also have a one-on-one week. So you'll be able to meet with me for 30 minutes to ask questions or like go over your chart a little bit. So even if you don't get the first 10-person bonus offer, you can still meet with me about your chart during that 30 minutes during the week. during the one-on-one week. The bonus offer is a Chiron reading where we go deep into your Chiron placement, how it's affected you over time, like where it came from, what the shame narrative is, how it started. And then on top of that reading, or inside that reading, I also give you some like healing exercises and things to think about based on your chart. Like based on your chart, these are the healing methods that would be really good for you. So yeah, you get the weekly healing workshops, the 30-minute office hour during the one-on-one week, an amazing support group, awesome like involvement in the workshops, and then for the first 10 people, the one-on-one Chiron reading.
Oh, wow. So, and once that this is gone with the 10 people, this will be removed from the offer. So if you don't see it here when you purchase, you are not among the 10, by the
So
way.
definitely want to act fast, and
Yes.
and you will be directed to her checkout. So when you click on that, don't be
This link
surprised
here.
to click there. You will have to do the checkout from here, so you can just go show more.
Mhm.
If you click
Yeah,
on
go to show more right there.
show more
I'm sorry. Where
to
is
the
that?
left.
No, it's like in the offer right there under weekly healing workshops.
Oh, I see it.
Right there.
Yes. Okay, cool. There it is.
And then you would select it, and then the total will show the 247, and that's where you can check out and ring up and everything like that, and secure your one-on-one coaching. I'm sorry, one-on-one reading with Macy.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Fabulous.
And I will, also let you know right away if you've made it within the time frame.
Yes.
You'll hear from me.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, you can also email us just to make sure. It's always team@HowHustle, and that includes any questions you might have. So I'm going to go ahead
Paula
and
asked to put the link in the chat.
Yes,
Yes.
dropping in the chat right now. I was just going to say that. And if you are looking for the offers and you can't find them, of course, you can always reach out to us, but they are usually big buttons around the speaker's picture or below it. So never fear, we will always find them for you.
And if you're listening on the replay YouTube, you can find it down in the description for us as well. So definitely write us if you can't find anything. We'll definitely help you out at team@outhustle.com.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys, this is a really, really good offer. When I was looking
really
for
is.
just,
I know, I know. Because I really
I'll
twisted her
say it.
arm. I was like, well, and she's like, no, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, I feel great. I'll just do it just for your people. And I was like, thank you. So yes, and unfortunately,
Really
we can only offer 10, but that's still super generous of you. So it's so amazing for those who feel called.
But even if you don't make it within the 10,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
first 10, you still get access to the workshops, which are in and of itself amazing. And then you also get that 30 minutes. So we could do like a quick thing there.
Yeah.
So yeah, still definitely do it, even if you're not part of the 10 people.
I was looking at a reading by somebody one time and it was $550, and that was only for 45 minutes. And I talked myself out of it, man.
Don't make her rethink her offer for us. I'm just kidding. You're just gonna be like,
no, I mean, and I looked all around for somebody that was really good, and I couldn't find anything for, I was like, I just can't say yes to that. I mean, other people could, but
well, I mean, the thing is, it's like
from earlier.
It's what it's worth to you, and if you don't know the person, it's not worth it to you to spend the $500 whatever dollars.
Right.
If you really love that astrologer and you've like had great experiences and like you're gonna get the best out of this, then you would spend $500 tomorrow if you knew you'd get exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, I think, like your person, your astrologer, your like whatever your service is. So hopefully this helps people get to know me.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't even know what question to ask. Is there another question that you really feel needs to be addressed to the group before we wrap up?
Anita, you're part of the Haven, so yes, you get the coupon, and just go ahead and do the regular checkout and we'll get you settled. for the difference.
Yeah, if you are in the Haven at any point and the coupon doesn't work or you don't have it, don't worry about it. We will settle. Just make sure you keep nagging us about that too.
Yeah, so go ahead and just check out regular the way you do, and then we'll get it
We'll
sorted.
get it. Yeah, it's really easy for us to sort it in the back end. It's a little tricky this time around.
And that's just because so our inner circle, Macy, our inner circle get 10% off of our portion. So we offer that for everybody's package. Primarily, we do it for anybody that we handled their transactions, but since
In
the
this
data,
case, it's a little bit different because the checkout is through your end. But so you guys, after the checkout, since there is no coupon code for this one, we will sort it out with you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I see. Yeah.
And thanks for being a part of our inner circle.
No worries. Wow.
Well,
this is fabulous.
Yeah.
I really,
I'm so excited that we had you on.
I know. I feel like I should have, maybe thought that we should have gotten some charts for you so that, because I really feel like if you could see a chart, you would just go nuts for
Well, she already,
right?
she did based off
I mean,
the
I
little
feel
bit
like
you
just
did do.
a little bit with no charts. Everyone's like, it resonates. I mean, it's powerful.
Yeah.
And I guess I didn't realize how accurate it is.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Really fascinating.
And for those people who get the birth chart, or like the reading from me, I do that visual in the reading too. Like it's just how I operate. So I like take your chart and I draw on it. And I'm like, okay, look and then I color code it so that you can see it. It's like I make it dummy proof.
Wow.
And then we talk about it together. So it's for my benefit too, because I just like that's the way I see it. But yeah, we have another time. You said you'd love to have me back. I would love to be back. This is super fun. I love going through charts and like having a good time with people and getting to know people and stuff. So I'm happy to come back. And next time I come back, we can have charts on the ready.
That would be exciting.
We should have thought about that. And but I'm glad we
all live in the past. We will move forward since now we know.
And now we can have you back.
I know, right?
Yeah. And we got good stuff. I think we had some good things.
Oh my gosh, this was so good.
So good.
I think the more you just looked at some like this little bit of information that people were sending you, the more I was like, what?
You can get that much.
I know that much just for like this house and rising moon or something. It's cool stuff. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Again, you guys, the link is in the chat. And if you're looking for the link on the replay, you can find it wherever you can find it. I have a feeling that this one might fill up with those 10 slots pretty quickly. So, and if you have any questions, then please let us know. I will try to update it as we check in with Macy about orders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will.
She'll let us know. Macy,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And have a great rest of the summit, and I will be in tune.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Wow, she really is
she's fascinating.
Gem, like a hidden gem.
No,
I knew that she was.
You did. You did. She's great. We are so honored to have her on the show.
Yeah.
And we also have a Humna coming up pretty soon here too. She's fascinating as well. We've had her on the show before. If you haven't listened to her replay, she's featured under our special, the bonus replays?
Yeah, talk about jaw dropping.
She's amazing.
She was blind for 3 years and had to leave work because she couldn't see. And she worked on herself and healed herself and made more money in more of a rest stage than she did in actually working really hard. Paula has a question. So it might show a subscription, but this is a one-time fee, per our understanding, by the way. Just wanted to answer that. I know that was direct, but it was easier for me to answer it loud.
Yes.
So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, that was
Joe said that was amazing.
That was amazing.
Yes.
That was interesting. I mean, like I said, I have no idea about any of this. I I did get work for somebody at one point, and they wanted to know what my astrological sign was and what my rising sun and moon sign were, or sun sign and moon sign, which I thought was pretty interesting. I was like, what are you getting from this about me?
You're like, you know, you weren't trusting them.
Yeah.
Paula says she's so in tune, love it. Yeah, she was. She really is. And I really now have a new, even further newfound respect for why through channeled meditation and through channeled reception and the communication, the being was basically the light being said, look, I really want you to do more astrology and astronomy.
That seems like your thing.
And tarot.
Your thing.
That's too funny. But also wanted humanity to also have more knowledge and to understand more of the, you know, the study behind it. And I totally agree.
Yeah, you guys, we have a survey that comes at the end of this. And if you like a certain type of reading or information, whether it's astrology or tarot or numerology or specifically angels or, you know, Arcturians or whatever, right? Or hypnosis, right? Let us know, because we could have a few more guests on in a specific area. I would love to do that. That'd be really, really fun for me.
Well, one of the things we were talking about privately, Judith and I, was that there's someone for everyone, and we all receive differently. And we may be in a different place in our lives where we were received differently. At one point, I didn't think I ever really needed astrology or to know tarot. In fact, I used to be really afraid of the word tarot and tarot cards.
Especially that doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can you just shuffle cards? And, you know, I'm just like, I'm not really.
And so it didn't work. So that's not your thing. See the little face that she has.
But I do believe in astrology. I think that the universe is ordered, blah, blah, blah. And I'll shut up now.
Yeah, thank you. Because the cards, you'll receive different information. So for yourself, let's say if you're shuffling and you give yourself cards, then you can utilize the cards to kind of see more into what the images that you're receiving. It also just helps to open up your channel and to reaffirm what you are receiving and know that you actually are having a communication with your either higher self or your guides, your spirit, your counsel. I think that is the reason why, is because it allows us to rely more and trust the information that we're receiving, as well as really pick up on those nuanced messages sometimes.
Look, I'm open. I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm from Missouri, so I'm like the show me state girl.
And it may not be for you, or at this point in your life, right? Maybe you have a totally great open channel and you receive and you do.
Yeah.
And you write down your messages, and there's no, real need for you to have that extra guidance. For me, I do like having my cards. I have my cards that one of my friends gifted me. And this was back when I thought tarot was spooky or oracle was spooky. And now I love having those little messages. Sometimes it's just another way for me to be like, no.
Well, I like drawing a card on the day, I'm just like, this message is for me.
Yeah.
But then I also can look at another card and go, this message is for me too. So it tells me to be kind and generous.
You're so funny.
No, I am being facetious, you guys. I do. Clearly, I wouldn't be running a show like this if I was just so no, I don't believe in any of it. But I do believe that the universe is very ordered, and that's why I'm like all in with astrology.
Yes.
Yeah.
The universe is very ordered. I said that a long time ago. I was like, the universe is super precise, more literal than we could even ever imagine.
Yeah.
And words are codes.
And everything that is, quote, happening or being created in your life is for you to help you grow. I mean, that is how the universe loves on you, by triggering you every moment of every day so that you can change and grow. And
it's not even happening to you. You have to step even further and say that you're creating it.
Yeah. Well, I did say that. I said happening or created.
You did say that. feed into that. I just get a little tripped up when we say happening to us, because then that puts us more in a victim stage.
Mhm.
And if we can remember in those states, because they do feel like they're happening to us. I mean, it is a very cause and effect kind of feeling. But if we can remember that we are creating this, then we can turn around and say, I would create this for what reason?
Right.
And then you can get the information. The faster that we get to that information, the faster that we can be released from our own doings.
Right. Yeah, Dana's like, it's a literal map in the sky. Yeah, I know. It's kind of wild. And I know that's like, I mean, when there wasn't technology and TVs or even radio, that's what people did. They studied the stars and they found themselves like becoming one with them, and the stars were speaking to them just as Masami speaks to the moon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm all into that. I mean,
Yeah.
things speak to me all the time. And I really, really love it. And the more that I'm into the quantum and the mystic, I really find that it's pretty freaking fascinating.
Yeah.
So Valentina says, I got 3 words today of angel cards. Obedience, transformation, kindness are my words of the day.
Oh.
Obedience. You thou must obey. Funny, the next offer, I was listening to Ahamna's hypnotherapy that she does, and she even has them go out with a dialect, and then she has them go as a little doggy, talk about obedience. Hi, I'm a little puppy.
Interesting.
I've never heard well, as a hypnotherapist, I want to hear other people's hypnotic scripts.
Yeah.
And it was really good. So that's a part of her offer.
And Valentina says, I hate the obedience word. So then find how you can either, having that resistance to the word, look at that word then and see what resonates, what pieces may resonate and what pieces may trigger. Also, you can also find a lot about yourself, about what triggers you and how to recode that word for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had trouble with discipline, and like literally, I did not want anybody to tell me I had to be disciplined until I realized that discipline was actually self-discipline was actually like the greatest gift I could ever have given myself, by the way. And I think obedience kind of falls in that category, like it could be being obedient to your heart, your intuition, right? Yeah, absolutely. It really going into how can obedience serve you, right? Instead of you have to be obedient to somebody else.
Me being obedient by taking my allergy medicine in the morning before I start to sneeze and
before you start to sneeze during the call, that would be helpful for us.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more self-discipline around that. I forgot. I usually always remind Ryzen and I'm like, hey buddy, just take your little, and he takes just a very light dosage, which so that he doesn't get a sinus infection. Anyway, long story short, but yes, those could be the reasons why, right?
Love it.
A little more vigilance.
Yeah, being really real today.
Yeah.
Can you entertain them for 2 minutes while I go?
Yes, and then we can swap.
Okay, cool.
Sneezing really shows you're human. I am very human. Well, why don't I pull a card for everyone anyway, because we talked about that. Would anybody like that today? Let's see what I got. I'll show you all my cards, and I really love having them. All right. So my cards are Whispers of the Ocean. One of my friends gave it to me. There's this natural rock little store down the street in Austin, Texas, and they just moved it, but it was right there on IH 35, if you're familiar. And it's great. They have all kinds of crystals. I've never really been in there before. And I really had never purchased oracle cards, because growing up in my religion, we'd always heard the word cuendera, which means witch. We had always heard the word oracle or even tarot, and been really, taught that this is black magic, or why are you doing that? And even still, like things can happen. And what I really realized was that was all a way in which to shut us down from having our own intuition and having to rely on guidance from outside of ourselves. And once I really started to realize that this was a construct put in place by either myself or through maybe religious acts or just even higher powers that be, to not trust myself, I realized, well, why wouldn't I use the tools that are around me in order to get more information? And of course, I'm going to use an oracle card. How beautiful is that? These things are here for us. And so anyway, I have a little deck, and this is my deck because I really love the ocean. I am a water baby. So this is little beautiful little turtle. And each one of these cards has these really beautiful different sea creatures, and of course a little reading about that. So just entertaining and pulling a card for the day. So we were talking about cards. And I'm going to shuffle one more time and everybody be thinking about what you got going on.
I love that you just kind of happen to have them right here. I pull them out.
And I usually pull my past, present, and future once a week. All right, let's see. This card is, or actually, I'm going to let you pull it. So I'm going to pull this one aside. We'll look at that one as well.
Maybe I was going to pull that one.
Well, we will. We'll do that one too.
All right. Cool. I'm going to put some glasses to tell you what it says. That one.
And so do I.
Oh, I can't believe I pulled this one.
What does it say?
It says disengage from outcomes.
That is so true.
I feel like,
gosh, how did you get that?
I feel like I'm being proven wrong.
So for all of us on the line, what is it that you are really trying to?
I think that it's control,
over
right?
control, all of us, right? Yeah. What are those areas? Oh my gosh, I should have had that money at the bank. I've already should have been somewhere. I'm this year's old and I should be doing XYZ. Or the mailman said he'll be there at 2:45 and it's 3 p.m. Disengage from outcomes, right?
Right. Well, and one of the things that I really said to my husband as he goes into his marathon training, and he's starting P90X today, and we had fun eating out all weekend because now everything he does the diet and everything, and he can lose so much weight doing this thing so fast.
Can do that so fast. Yeah.
And he's trying to get me involved with it, and yes, I am in it to get a better body for sure, so I'm going to do some with him. But I have to say, one of my diets that I said that I was going to do instead of doing the actual diet with food is that I was going to go on a diet from conclusion.
Ooh.
And excuses.
Girl.
I go on a diet from conclusions, excuses, and there was one other, and I can't even remember it now.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Like I'm just done. I'm like, I'm tired of controlling everything, and now I'm just gonna follow the energy and be really present with it. And this just says that exactly, because an outcome is a conclusion.
I'm going to read to you what it says. It says, disengage from outcomes. Let go so you can open yourself to the highest love that you deserve. Find ways to release worry or any unresolved lack of forgiveness you may be holding on to. If you feel that you have overreacted, take time to forgive yourself and allow yourself to learn from the situation. If someone else has hurt you, be willing to forgive him or her. Pay attention to how you are feeling, what you are thinking, and what you desire. Take care to align your thoughts and words to attract your heart's desires. You can conquer any pain that comes your way. Understand how pain can help you grow. If someone has betrayed you and you do not think you can ever love again, challenge that belief.
Wow.
Do not be surprised when your heart emerges from darkness, capable of loving even more than before. If you are feeling edgy, adjust your diet, your sleep, and your environment. You will be back to the truth of who you are in no time. Surround yourself with family or friends to help you release any old pain and distract you while you heal and wait for your fresh new energy to rise within you.
Wow.
I know.
It's look at this card.
It's the
You know,
orca.
yeah.
And it says orcas develop social structure based on living with their mothers for duration of their lives.
Mhm.
These pods are formed with the oldest female and her daughters and sons and the offsprings of her daughters and so on. Orcas may live up to 90 years, so several generations of mammals stay together, hunting and traveling. The pods are very secure. They seldom stray from each other. If they do, it's only for a short time. It is equally important for you to find a strong support system for yourself. Surround yourself with individuals who support you and allow you to grow and evolve as you learn about yourself. So that's really beautiful. And it's really cool that you were doing that with your husband. I mean, that's exactly what it's telling you to do. It's
I know. And then I brought on this little thing. I know you guys can't read it, but it's like call in your clan.
And your tribe.
And your network, your family. And I just thought that was kind of a cool message. And so I was like, our flowers get that today.
Paula said, wow, that's spot on card. Card pull. I love that. I just said forgiveness prayer this morning. I love it. And a diet from conclusion, Jenna. That Anne said that, and I love that. I love that so much. I think that I'm totally going to do that.
Well, you just saw me spit out all my points of view about tarot. Although I know, even though I do say things like that, some of it I want you guys to know that's just like the satirical comedic side to me. So if you kind of get twisted when I say things like that, I really just say it to kind of trigger us all. And I mean, it's important for us to look at our belief systems.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one way that I can get people, especially when they're working with me, to like look at things, is to just align and agree with them and do something like comedic around it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm so used to it. So I always know when you're being facetious. I'm like, You're like, I'll shut up. And I'm like, yeah. The diet from conclusions can be a practice. Yeah, and I'm in on that one. I love that. I'm so about that. I think that was one of the most valuable things today too. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. I'm like really uncomfortable doing it too, because I am like a fan of control and conclusions. I mean, I've let them go a little bit more as I've grown up, but and I've tried, but I feel like if I could just let go of my excuses, which are conclusions, I would be well off. If I just stopped giving myself reasons to say no to things.
Do you want to see what the first card was like? Yeah. It says 50, childlike devotion. So the card was childlike devotion. You are a multi-talented, complex being. Embrace and love who you are. And I imagine this is going to tell us, like, just approach everything with the childlike mind, devotion.
Which would almost go together.
Yeah, right? It's like when you can disengage from outcome, then you would have the childlike devotion that you would just be.
You just follow the energy.
The new eyes, like I was talking about. Let's see what it says. I'll give you about a couple words on it. Oh, it's the 50, like the number 50 card. And it's just really pretty. It says you are love includes both acceptance and respect. Love is the essence of the situation at hand. Making a shift into greater love of self will bring you more love from others. The truth is that you will receive more love when you are able to accept the love that is given to you. The love coming into your life may or may not be romantic love. Look for ways in which you can begin to connect with others and allow your emotions to become evident. Be open to living more from your heart and experiencing your dreams. Woohoo! Consider the joy you felt as a young child around the holidays or special occasions. Don't let that trigger you. Recall how you knew what you longed for. Of course, your aspirations have changed, but you can instantaneously pursue your ideals just as you did as a child. Simple joys and love are meant to be shared. The balance of giving and receiving will support the love you have in your being. I love that. And this is the Christmas Rosse. Is a colorful member of the reef. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful fish. And it does look like some play, right?
It's smelling around. It could have been Nemo, though, man.
I know, with the red and bright coloring. They're active during the day.
Nice.
Yes, and sometimes love can seem elusive, but begin realizing there really is more to life by loving yourself. I love that too.
That's beautiful.
So, all right.
They said, well, you first read it, the little thumbs up came. So I was going to make the thumbs up and I was like, okay, come on, let's do it. And then it made like all these fireworks come out and everything.
Oh, how fun.
I don't know if I can.
She said that's great. The fireworks are new.
Yeah, I didn't even know that it did that.
Oh,
I don't know how I can make it do it again.
And Valentina says tarot cards can usually be joined together. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
There's no.
Well, and that would
No
be
accident.
like the tarot cards, you make like that cross,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So those are 5 cards
Yeah.
that are put together
Yeah.
for a message. for you.
Yeah.
Love it.
All righty. So
All right. Do you want to take a quick little break
Yeah.
before Humna comes on?
2 seconds.
Okay. Let me just talk about a Humna for a second, because when she came on the first show, my brain was like, oh, it's Barbie, because she was like all in pink and I loved it so much. And then as we got talking to her, I really realized that she's very different and has a very, very different perspective to life. And because of her life experience, especially in going blind, I think that has really taken her on a spiritual and conscious journey for healing in a way that I just, never had expected when I was looking, for, someone to specifically talk about money. I was like, okay, well, who actually really gets this? Because, I pride myself in being really good with money in the human way, but I really learned a ton from her. And I did make a hypnosis that went along with this idea of like rest and be taken around money or wealth. So if you're one of the people that comment on Instagram and you get a choice to get one of the hypnosis from me, you could get that one. But she really inspired me, and I was meditating on that through that series that she was on. I really feel like there's some more depth there for sure for me to get clearly. But I really, really thought she was absolutely fantastic, and I'm so glad that she was a part of the show. So I hope that you enjoyed this session. I hope that you also really, really take some time to listen to the previous, which is in one of the viewing rooms. I think I shared it on Sunday's email. But all the viewing rooms are now in every single email. So make sure that you look for her, especially because that Meridian one, it's like meridians and money, and that is how she healed her own wealth as she was healing her body. And it is really, really cool and really, really profound and really, really different. And I'll stop saying really right now, because it was, it blew my mind. And I was just like, everyone's got to hear this, because I didn't look at money the same way after. And maybe I need to revisit it too, where I wouldn't be saying it so much.
I need to be revisit it now.
Yeah. She also, in this today, she just has a way of saying things too, that kind of makes you go, hmm. And that is why I dove into her package over the weekend. I just kind of was curious how her hypnosis within the program was. And I just can't say enough about her. Like, she is one of the people that when Lianca's like, well, who do you want back? I was like, let me think about that. Humna.
Yeah.
We didn't ask her on that ever, but I'm guessing that is her like spiritual name, right? That's her.
No, I'm not sure.
I don't think she was born that name. Maybe we'll ask on this one.
Yeah, we'll definitely ask.
Yeah,
it's fitting though, for sure.
Yeah, and she'll also go wherever you want to go. So, so think about like some of the questions that you might ask, whether you do want to ask around money, and because it's very different how she approaches money and wealth and creation.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't popped on yet. Do we have her right at 12:45 or we at 1?
She's at 12:45. Let me see, make sure she's got everything she needs.
Okay, cool. So while we're waiting a second, let's go ahead and just do a little vision alignment with some 5D awesomeness that we can just start up a frequency. Oh, she just came on. All right, well, we'll do it. Let's do it right after her.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you keep working on what yours might be. Maybe it'll change by the end of this conversation too. Cool. All right. I saw her come on. Where is she?
And then you'll start a new recording for us.
I sure will. Hi, Hamna. I'm going to start a new recording. Hold tight.
Hi.
Oh, don't you look so cute?